En la segunda parte de la trilogía del p-valor nos vamos al año 2016, a la sede de la Asociación Americana de Estadística, donde están discutiendo qué es y qué no es un p-valor.
We did not have a group of people who all think the same way about it. And so after really a very long discussion, experts put together was then reviewed by our board of directors and adopted as a statement of the American Statistical Association. Everything that I need to know or I need to assume in order to go from my data to a p-value. And all of those things can be thought of as being in the statistical model, because if you change those things, you could end up with a different p-value.
Oye, mira, es que estoy estimando estos dos modelos y en este modelo esta variable es súper importante para explicar y en este otro no lo es. ¿Y por qué te asombra, no? Te asombra porque piensas que el contenido informativo es un concepto absoluto. El contenido informativo de X sobre Y no lo es relativo.
Because there is so much flexibility in data analysis, theorizing, and then it's very simple. The distribution of p-values or any statistics is affected by any choice you make.
Por lo tanto, los datos pueden ser incompatibles con el modelo que has elegido, con las variables, las transformaciones a los datos, o también la hipótesis nula. Hay muchas opciones.
When people incorrectly define p-values, probably the most common incorrect definition is saying that they are a measure of whether the finding happened by chance, which of course is not what p-values tell you.
¿Por qué cometemos entonces este error? Mira la definición de p-valor. En ella estás asumiendo que la hipótesis nula se cumple. Pero el p-valor no es ni la probabilidad de que la nula sea cierta, ni de que lo que has encontrado sea debido al azar, porque ya lo estás imponiendo en el propio cálculo del p-valor. Es un razonamiento circular un poco raro, ¿no te parece?
But to me, the third principle is the most important thing, and that is that just because a p-value is less than 0.05 or something else is not a sufficient reason to jump to a conclusion.
P-value can be useful. I don't think that we should throw them away, but we need to stop misusing them and stop giving them, giving it more power than it has. It can't tell us whether it's correct. It should not be the measure of whether something is a good result or not.
Why there should be any substantive difference between a value of 0.049 for p and a value of 0.051 for p.
The 0.05 is like a natural law, huh? So people don't really question, people I'm working with don't really question the usefulness of 0.05, although it was never, I'm not aware that it was ever shown, that it's formally shown that this is a good or optimal choice.
If I'm looking at your study and and you are kind enough and open enough to provide your data, which oftentimes obviously doesn't happen, but let's suppose that it did. You've provided all your data, but I still can't figure out how you got the p-value that you got.
Es decir, si solo mostramos el resultado que nos da el p-valor que queremos, estamos haciendo minería de datos de la mala, la que busca, estrujando los datos, un resultado concreto y no muestra cómo ha llegado a este, qué datos ha despreciado y qué opciones no ha tomado de manera deliberada.
there's a big pressure to publish. There's a big pressure to publish significant results. This is a problem of the journals. It's a problem of reviewers. There's no surprise that researchers really use significance testing, use p-values, use significance to try to get published.
In the COVID-19 situation, there were some drugs. These drugs are now being used, but there were some drugs at the time that were being studied.
En ese estudio llegan a este intervalo de confianza, en -14, 2, que son los posibles efectos sobre la mortalidad de los pacientes. Decir que no tiene efecto en la mortalidad solo porque el 0 está dentro del intervalo es, a simple vista, un ejercicio científico bastante dudoso. ¿Qué otras hipótesis nos rechazamos? ¿Qué coste médico y humano tendrían?
But also could decrease mortality by a considerable bit. The point is that we should always be looking at those effect sizes, the confidence intervals, or other ways to think about effect, and not just stop with statistical significance.
Si el p-valor lo que intenta es reflejar la incertidumbre que hay o que generan los datos, yo p-valor versus intervalo de confianza, siempre. Y luego tú decides la confianza que le quieres poner, porque estamos no sé por qué atados al 5%.
El contraste de hipótesis es ponerte los ojos así y mirar solo a este punto. Y de nuevo tienes toda una evidencia muestral importantísima y de todas las hipótesis que podrías considerar, solo me estás mirando este punto y todo lo demás es una información que no me vas a dar.
Dichotomization, of results into significant and not significant results. This is clearly harmful, I think. It doesn't convey very much information. I don't think it's very critical.
Don't expect that there's just going to be a magic number that's going to tell you whether, something is true or not true.